Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the TANSIO MIRAI RGB. This is TANSIO MIRAI's latest flagship. Um, well, the previous one being the Akiba, and what they've now brought us this time is a 17 driver per side IEM. It's got 9 BAs and 8 ESTs on each one of the units, on each one of the shells, which is pretty amazing actually if you think about it, because I mean the IEM itself is not really that big. It's not a huge IEM. It's actually quite small, and to be able to have put that many drivers inside there is actually quite impressive. Anyway, they have also included a few other features to, let's say, justify the $3,000 price tag associated with the RGB, excuse me, namely the tuning switches, which provide some tuning changes, not as much as probably you would think, but anyway they do. And compared to the previous top of the line, the Akiba, which was priced at $1,500, so basically half the price, TANSIO MIRAI claims that this has not just been an increase of drivers, but a substantial increase of performance. I won't be able to ascertain or to confirm that claim because I don't have the Akiba, but I do have enough IEMs in front of me here and a few others that I was going to use, but I just decided to keep it to less that are sufficient to position well the RGB and give a more concrete opinion about it. Anyway, so as to be fair and demonstrate the RGB's full potential, I'm using a Gladiator silver cable. This is roughly 300 euros, this cable. So I'm using one of their top of the line cables. They have silver cable. I used the Lotto once again, and I used the Prime Deck and the VE and the 2B RA. So in terms of sources, cable, I didn't cut corners so as to not then be accused of not maybe giving it a good chance to showcase its abilities. However, it's not that I wasn't impressed or that I didn't like the RGB. I did. It has its good points, but I feel that the RGB's performance for the price tag is a little bit underwhelming. And why do I say that? Because okay, fine, the tuning switches do permit some adjustment here and there, and with all these drivers, I was expecting something truly unique, and no, that wasn't the case. It's got a nice sound. It's adequately detailed. It's got really good bass. After all, we have 4 Sonian AccuPhase vented BAs taking care of that. It's got a good mids. The mids are handled by 4 Knowles units, and then there's a single Sonian handling a full range in treble, and then all that complemented by the 8 ESTs. So with this many let's say pieces in the hardware, I was expecting something that was going to truly knock me off my feet, and as I said, that wasn't exactly what happened. I've got here 4 IEMs that I considered to be excellent at their respective price points, and well, more than sufficient to excuse me, for me to then compare with the RGB and position it well. The first one here is an IEM that I recently reviewed, the Leisurely Audio L8S, 8 BAs, $360 price tag, basically all Sonian BAs, and also got some Knowles for the highs. Absolute beast of an IEM. period. I mean, in my review, I compared it very favorably to the Awur Audio Neon Pro, which I could have added, but not to want to repeat the same IEMs as well all the time. I decided to opt for the leisurely audio. First of all, because it has got a performance which is very, very comparable to the Neon Pro's performance, and then it's got a crazy price tag. I mean, for something under $400, it has no right, in my opinion, to be playing this well. Next to it, we have the SoundRhyme SR8, an absolutely amazing IEM again at its price point. Every bit as competent and as able as, once again, the Neon Pro from our audio. Tuning switches, which allow it to have quite a versatile tuning change, way more than on the RGB, and allowing it to emulate, or to be able to emulate, either a very relaxed kind of tuning or then a more energetic tuning, which is the one that I've got it set up for. Then an oldie, which is the QDC Tiger, but again, fantastic IM, very capable, nice, full sound, very natural, great bass, really detailed, nice IM, period, nice. $1,500 price tag. Already starting to push it, a little bit, but still within, I would say, acceptable values, let's put it that way. And next to that, the Panon Impact, which is the top of the line from Panon, a $2,500 price tag, 10 BAs and 4 ESTs, so also gigantic BA count. Well, the SRT is also 14 BAs, so there's a lot of stuff there as well. Actually, the Tiger is the one that has the least drivers, let's put it that way. Well, this has got 8 in total. This has also got 8, but it's 6 plus 2. Anyway, the Panon Impact, for me, bar the price, it's one of the best IEMs in terms of an all BA or BA and ESTs that I've heard. Amazing sound. The mids are absolutely unreal, super musical, great timbre and tonality, very natural, detailed highs with the right amount of detail coming from the ESTs. Really, really, really good. I mean, period. Fine. $2,500 is a lot of money, and in my review of the Impact, I questioned as well if it offered enough to justify that price tag. Personally, I don't think that it offers enough to justify that price tag. But look, it is what it is, and everything's an item's value, whatever it is always dependent on the consumer. Back onto the RGB, like as I mentioned, this is $3,000, and listening to it, you do feel that there's a really well executed bass. It's quick. It's fast. It's detailed. Not the most rumbly of basses. So it's not the bass that can go down deep the most. The Impact does it better. Well, actually, all of them do it better. They can all go down deeper. There's plenty songs that have a nice bass line where that was very, very noticeable. But that's not to say that it's not capable or that it doesn't have decent enough sub bass. No, it does. But the mid bass is its forte. The mids are okay. I don't think the mids are in any way better than the mids of the SR8 or of the Impact. No, they are not. And then the highs, they are smooth and well executed. I think that the 8 ESTs are perhaps an overkill. I get the feeling that they could have done the same thing with significantly less ESTs. No need to have gone for such a high number. the nice thing about the RGB is that it is an IM that is, although I've paired it here with some really serious gear, I also connected it up with my usual dongle and amp combination, and I used it with my phone and everything. So this to say what, that it's an IM that actually will play well with any source. It's not very much this dependent on a high quality source to actually be able to show its sound. That is an advantage, I would say. But having said that, again, the sound is somewhat underwhelming in the sense that I didn't find it to be technically a super capable IM, honestly. I would have liked a little bit more technical capabilities in terms of its soundstage. I would have liked a bigger soundstage, especially when you consider that you have this many ESTs. Imaging was okay, fine. Detailed retrieval again as well. I was expecting more because, yes, it does do all those things well and so on and so forth. But we mustn't forget, we are talking $3,000. So obviously we set the bar of our expectations much higher. And for $3,000, you want it to be able to do things in a different level than what a $400 IEM does. And the truth is, technically, it is not an IEM which blows away completely the L8S or the SR8. No. What I do notice is that actually those two are way more open in their sound. They got way more engaging and fun mids. If anything, what these two lose out with regards to the TANSIO MIRAI is that they are less polished when pushed a little bit, more so on the L8 than on the SR8. They are less polished, okay? But again, $400, almost $800, $3,000. Is it fair to make that comparison? Perhaps not, So technically, okay. In terms of its frequency response, as I said, again, it plays well. It's half engaging, half decent in its reproduction of sound, but not something which I would think is deserving of this type of cost. Again, I wish I would have had the previous top of the line to make a comparison with it, but when I listen to the QDC Tiger, for example, and I straight away listen to the TANSIO MIRAI, and I don't see the TANSIO MIRAI beating the QDC Tiger outright. Actually, I prefer more the timbre and the tonality and the way that the bass is executed, and even the mids are executed on the QDC than I do on the TANSIO. That starts telling me that maybe this is a little bit, overhyped to a certain extent, compared to the Impact, which is the one that's got the closest price. I consider the Impact to be a better IEM in every way. These two are more lively sounding. These three are more smooth sounding. Let's put it that way. Great timbre, great tonality, really nice, lush, very nice. That taken a few levels up, a few steps up. Okay, this one, as I said, it is smooth, but in terms of timbre and tonality, it lags behind either one of those. In terms of frequency response as well, it lags behind either one of those. And depending then on what tuning setting that you use as well, although there is not that much of a big variation, it's basically the bass that comes down. The treble can become a little bit underwhelming again. It can be a little bit too strong, a little bit I don't want to sound like I'm being mean or anything, but I just was expecting a lot more from the TANSIO, to be totally honest. Anyways, I was saying they've got a number of settings with regards to the switches. The two settings that I ended up using mostly are the 100 setting, or then the 111 setting, or what they call the 123. The 100 setting, they call it the bass enhancement mode, which boosts the lower frequency a little bit. while the 120 setting reduces the bass down a little bit. So basically what happens with the different tunings that you have is you either have more bass or less bass, and a lot of them, the 020, the 023, they all end up being basically the same thing, and I'll show it to you in the graph section just now. So I stuck with the 100 setting, which is the bass enhancement mode as they call it, and I stuck with the 123, which is the mixed tuning low impedance mode. Those two modes just basically gave me the nicest sound that I could at least they gave me the sound that I prefer, period, let's put it that way. In terms of some of the specs here with regards to TANSIO MIRAI, it's got a 26 ohm impedance, which with a 106 dB sensitivity, so it needs a little bit more than some of the others over here. By comparison, for example, the SR8 with its 14 BAs, it's got a 119 dB sensitivity, although it's also got roughly a 5 ohm impedance, so it's a bit of a hard one to drive if you don't have the proper gear. So it needs although it's not picky with the source, it needs a source capable of having some guts to drive everything, because after all it is 17 drivers. Let's not forget that. And that's it, guys. I mean, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to come across as kind of being unfair with regards to the TANSIO MIRAI, but I connected it up with good gear. I gave it, I tip rolled. I gave it a really good opportunity to show me that it justifies its price tag. And the reality was that it didn't really impress me. It plays well, it's fine, it's good, it's got good details, but it's not, in my opinion, the sound that I would associate with the $3,000 IEM. Especially when, for example, and you guys know, you have the Texan Audio, the Desk TI, which is $2,500, and although yes, okay, it's only 4 BAs and two ESTs. You listen to that IEM, and if any of you do have a chance to listen to it, it is unreal. Okay, $2,500, a lot of money. Fair enough, a lot of money, but the drivers have all been so well implemented, have all been so well utilized that it sounds just surreal, and it's there's a reason why I consider it to be one of the best IEMs I've ever heard, and in terms of BA and EST application, it definitely is the best one. Out of all of these, considering price, considering what they are capable of doing, versatility and everything, which would be the IEM that I would choose? The SR8. I'm going to be very, very honest. SR8 would be the one I would choose. Price to performance, amazing. Next, the L8S. And then, I like the QDC, the Tiger. It's fantastic IEM. Every bit, in my opinion, as capable as its bigger brother, the Anole VX. Actually, in terms of its timbre and tonality, I actually think it's better than the Anole VX. The Anole VX can be too clinical, while this is more musical, definitely. And the impact, I love the sound as well. Smooth, really nice, amazing. But the price tag as well. We have such good IEMs in the MidFi price tag currently, that for a top of the line or something that goes above 1,000 or 1,300 or 1,500, let's put it at 1,500. Anything that goes above $1,500, $1,500 has to be truly, but truly groundbreaking. It has to be the alpha male of it has to be the top predator, and if it isn't that, then it's just gonna get squashed by cheaper IEMs that have been very well tuned, and they are very capable. Anyway, guys, I'll show you now the graphs quickly, and we'll wrap it up afterwards. All right, take care. Hi guys, and well, let's talk about the graphs now and show you the graphs of the RGB. The first one I'm going to be showing you is the RGB in the 100 setting. It's what they call the base enhancement mode. You know, doesn't look offensive. Nice full bass, but it doesn't convey this amount of fullness as you would think, in my opinion. It's got a nice full bass, yes it does, but it's not as prominent as you would think. It's got that typical energy up in the upper mids and treble that usually is associated with TANSIO MIRAI, and some good, and good extension past 10K. In that, well, the next tuning that they have is what they call the mixed tuning with the 120 setting, which is basically the first two switches are on and the last one is off, and it's the same thing. So be it the 100 or the 120, as they call it in mode 1, the sound is the same. I tried it. It's exactly the same. Okay. Then in mode 2 they have the 020 setting, which they call it the balanced, all balanced mode, and this basically maintains again, the above 400 hertz. It's basically the same thing. It just slightly drops the bass a little bit. Did I notice anything significant? To be totally honest, no, I really didn't. So that's it. Then they have what they call the 103 in mode 2, which they say it's the mixed tuning again, and the 103 is again the same thing as the first two settings. So let me just take away this one, take away that one. Okay, so that's the original setting, and that's the 103 setting. So we've already got here three settings which are exactly the same. Okay, only the 020 setting in mode 2, which they call the balanced, is slightly different. Okay, then in mode 3 we have the 003 setting, which yes, again above 400 stays the same, but this one drops slightly the bass even more, and they call this the high frequency enhancement. Yes, it's the high frequency enhancement because they've dropped the bass, and the difference here of about 3 dBs between the most bassy and the less bassy, with the with a setting there being in between the all balanced. Then we have the mixed tuning, which is the 023, and that basically copies again the 020 in all balanced mode. So another setting which is basically the same. And then finally the 123 mixed tuning with lowest impedance in mode 3, which again reverts back to the original setting. So we have 4 settings which are basically the same. Okay, the 123. Let me actually take away these ones here. Take away this one. Take away this one. So we have 4 settings, okay, which graph exactly the same as you can see, and then we have 2 settings which have a little bit less bass, as you can see as well, and then we have the one which has a little bit less bass again, which is the treble mode. So in all honesty, I don't know, I didn't really yes, you do notice the difference between the most bassy and the less bassy, and with the subsequent cleaning up to a certain extent, although it's not that significant. I wasn't impressed with the tuning switches, honestly, and what they supposedly should do. Anyway, let me just take away all of these except for the 123 tuning, which is the one that I listen to the most. Okay. All right, there we go. So I left it with the 123 tuning, which is the mixed tuning lowest impedance. Okay, the next IEM that I'm going to be placing up now is the yes, there we go, is the SoundRhyme, the SR8 in the 1.1 setting. And the SR8 in the 1.1 setting, let me actually just change the color here to something which is more visible, perhaps red. Yeah, red. First of all, in terms of the bass, it's although you see here that it kind of rolls off and so on, and you would think, oh, it's got less sub bass. The reality is no, it actually has just as much sub bass, if not perhaps even more. And also why? Because the way that the mids and upper mids and the treble is done is so smooth and so relaxed that it lets this bass area shine way more than what you would think. Okay. Yes, it doesn't have the ultimate extension up top, and yes, you do notice that the treble is a little bit less polished than the treble of the RGB, but overall, honestly, I prefer the sound of the SR8. It's a way nicer sounding, it's a better sounding IM for me, for my music, for what I listen to. The SR8 is a superior IM, and one that, just the fact that it costs not even $800 justifies very well its price tag and its performance. The next one is the Panon Impact. So let me take away the RGB, the SR8. This is the Panon Impact. The Impact, again, fantastic bass, way better than the bass of the RGB. I actually normalized it at 1K, but if I actually normalize it at 500K, this would probably be more indicative of what you actually hear. The mids, fantastic. It's got this dip here at 5, which takes away any hint of sibilance or whatever, harshness. And then the treble, yes, the upper treble, not as extended as but for some reason, and I think it has to do as well with the way that this part here of the frequency range is all matched up, the upper mids, the treble, and so on. It just sounds way more open. There's a much better sound stage, much better imaging in the Impact than there is in the RGB. At least that's, once again, in my opinion. All right. And then finally, the underdog here of all, which is the L8S. Bass-wise, not even a comparison. In terms of mids as well, in my opinion, superior mids to the RGB, way more well executed in the RGB. It doesn't have that upper mid and treble area that is as forward as it is on the RGB, but it sounds more open. It's just it's just weird. I don't know what it is with the RGB, because I gave it, like I said, I gave it a good fighting chance. I used a good cable with it. I tried quite a few cables. I gave it a good cable. That particular cable from Gladiator has worked wonders on some of the IMs that I've been using lately, and it just, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I just it just didn't impress me. Once again, I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but the TANSIO MIRAI RGB just didn't impress me. I was expecting way more from it. And just for the sake of comparison, as I said, this is 17 drivers. I'm just going to show you the DEST TI, the TXN, just for you guys to see the graph of that IEM, and the graph is a graph and it's not indicative of anything. But let me just change the color. There we go. With 8 ESTs, you would have expected it to have treble and an extension past 10K to be surreal. And it is not. It is not. The RGB should be annihilating completely the DEST, and it isn't. There's no harshness, no sibilance. There's nothing on the DEST TI. It just sounds absolutely flawless. Honestly, I'm really lost for words. The IEM here, out of all of these IEMs, that actually comes close, well, not close, but in certain areas copies to a certain extent the DEST TI's philosophy. You're going to have a good laugh now. Is actually the SR8. Let me just change the color here of the SR8, make it blue so you guys can see what I'm saying. The SR8 in terms of the bass and the initial part of the mids, although you do see a difference, it just sounds phenomenal, and it keeps up better with the STI than what I honestly was expecting. Anyway, guys, this is my take here on the TANSIO MIRAI RGB. I apologize to those that maybe are hardcore fans that were expecting me to talk wonders about it. Well, I didn't talk bad about it. I'm just saying that for the price I was expecting more, and it somewhat disappointed me. And that's it, guys. All right. Anyway, as always, like and subscribe. Questions, please feel free to ask. Take care now.